I was continuing work on the rough-cut wood and other projects around the cabin when I heard some heavy equipment coming down my road. It was the crew arriving to install the well pump. We've been on their waiting list for 24 months. We were finally going to have water at the cabin, and no more hauling in water from home. I was so happy.
I want to drive one of those someday.
Why?
I don't know.
This is the trench where they lay the water pipe and the power line between the well and the cabin. It's a pretty big trench for just a small plastic pipe and an electrical cord. But they have to use a big trencher in case they run into some large rocks or underground boulders. This is where they're hooking up the water pipe to the actual well.
Pull that out if you want. Yeah. Pull straight up on it.
Here he's connecting the main water line to what's called the pitless adapter, which will connect to the downpipe inside the steel casing. The steel casing goes 20 feet below the surface. Then in line with the main water pipe, they hook up a horsehead spigot for access to water away from the cabin.
Too high? What do you think?
Looks okay to me.
What you want? Does it have a cap in it?
Now they prepare to lower the submersible pump connected to the downpipe into the well. That's the pump he's taking out of the box right now. It's a 7-gallon per minute pump, which is more than adequate for my needs. Here, the pump is connected to the first section of downpipe and power cable. Then they'll lower it down and connect the next section of downpipe and so on until the pump is in place. In my case, my well is 500 feet deep. The pump was lowered to 480 feet. above the 500-foot level so it wouldn't suck up sediment from the bottom of the well. This is the pressure tank which pushes the water from the well through the pipes into the cabin. I do have to take a second to make a correction of something I said in episode 2 of this series, and it was a big mistake. I stated that the well was producing 2 to 2.5 gallons per minute. After looking back at the documentation when they drilled the well, I found that my well is only producing 1/4 of a gallon per minute, which would prove to cause some huge problems in the future, which you'll see in an episode to come. But in the meantime, we were getting fresh, cold Rocky Mountain water, and we were thrilled. Here you'll see a rabbit running towards the woodshed, then a bobcat chasing after it. Sorry for the low quality video, but the bandwidth at my cabin is really low. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on which side you're on, the bobcat didn't have rabbit for dinner that evening. Now that we had water, we could have the plumber come back up and finish the work that we've already paid him to do. So we continued on with all projects related to plumbing so we'd be ready when he got here.
Jumped out to a 1-0 lead in the first in Oakland. The 1-0 pitch, check swing, and that's going to cost him a strike. It's 1-1. First inning at Anaheim, Royals and Angels are scoreless.
Is it smelly?
Oh, very smelly. Bugs your lungs. You tell me, you don't have a mask on.
Yeah.
Is it smelly?
It's pretty darn smelly.
With the bathroom pretty much ready, I moved back over to the kitchen wall tile in hopes I could get it finished up. Then I needed to tackle one last plumbing-related project before the plumber shows up, finishing the utility closet, where the tankless water heater will be installed. The water heater is electric that runs on 220. The brand is Envirotech, I believe out of business now. It has a bit of a struggle trying to heat up the really cold mountain water, but it heats up enough to have a relatively warm to hot shower, as the temperature slowly but mildly fluctuates up and down during a shower. In my opinion, though, the water doesn't get hot enough to clean dishes thoroughly, but I have a plan for that in a future episode. But overall, I'm pretty pleased with it. It's still operating like new after 22 years of service.